Okay, folks, today I'm joined by Kyle Mooney, former Saturday Night Live cast member and the writer and director of Y2K, which hits theaters on December 6th. Congrats on the film, Kyle.
Oh, thanks, Eric. I appreciate it.
My first one's not really a question. The AOL intro started, and my first gut feeling was like, I don't know if I could do this, man. Like, this feels a bit kind of mean, and not mean in the sense of a literal sense, but you tapped into such a core memory that I had forgotten that I had. And at the same time, I felt 31 and 13. So I
Right.
guess the question would be, what was the effect on you of making a movie so explicitly nostalgia laced?
I mean, I wrote it with my friend Evan, and like mostly the effect was like mostly I was excited. Mostly I loved the idea of putting this era on screen because like I don't think you've gotten to see it a ton, and it feels like such a specific moment in time. And I enjoyed like during the writing process, tossing references back and forth. Like, do you remember this? Do you remember this? No, I don't remember that. I don't remember that. Oh yeah, we got to get this in there. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Like I definitely like in the process probably relived all of those moments, and like we were watching YouTube videos of like an AOL startup and trying to like get in the headspace of what that was. But also like that stuff lives like is fully it's pretty present in my brain. Like I feel like
Well,
for some
I felt like your lead. As soon as I saw he was flirting with a classmate on an AOL chat. I was right back there, you know?
I know. Yeah, it was that was I think that's the only way I was able to talk to my crushes. I was definitely not good in person.
Well, I mean, I'm the type now. I mean, the type I'm of the age where I say like when I first started to care about girls, you used to have to call their house and be like, "Hi, is Kayla home? Can I talk to Kayla?"
I The phone makes yeah, I mean I feel you, but the phone always made me nervous. Yes.
Yeah,
I'm still scared of the phone actually.
yeah, exactly. Just for a whole new reason now. You are a VHS collector. I collect Blu-rays and DVDs. I want to talk to you about setting up the store. I saw Basketball, Big Daddy, Face Off. Were those tapes yours? And did you have a favorite that you snuck in there?
You know, I hate to say it, none of those tapes belonged to me.
But I'm sure you had an intense input on what ones were back there.
Oh, abs I mean, like, definitely, especially the posters and the sort of die cuts, whatever you call those. And like, I'll give credit to my partner Evan on the project. We were both talking about it a lot, but like, yeah, I think we had access to a list of like, okay, here are a bunch of movies that we could potentially clear. And one, for instance, that was very meaningful to me is this movie Heart and Souls we have a poster of. I don't know if you know that movie. It's a Robert Downey Jr.
Don't.
Movie. Charles Grodin is in it, and it's from probably somewhere between 93 and 95. But one of those movies that we watched over and over in my home. I don't feel like every family in that era maybe had their own like kind of cult classic that like they repeated. And so that was a fun little Easter egg of like this is something that is meaningful to me. I don't think you can find that movie for purchase or on streaming. I feel like it might only exist on DVD and VHS, but it was a movie I really loved.
For my family and I, the film that we could recite every line of is Liar Liar.
Oh yeah,
Um,
great.
the scene where Eli and
I like it in Liar Liar when the kid say something like he's like, "Whoa, baseball stuff."
yeah, yep, yep, yeah. You know what? Actually, that kind of leads me into something that I was going to ask you. A gag that you have a few times in this is somebody yelling a joke off screen. When Soccer Greg first comes up, and I forget if it's him or the guy who chugs the drink. Someone off screen yells, "That's so fucking funny," or something like that. And then a little bit later, when Soccer Greg asks Eli who he is, someone off screen like it's like, "Oh, that's piss mouth." What about jokes being yelled off screen is so funny to you. It worked on me, but that is clearly a choice of yours, and that clearly tickles a very specific funny bone.
Yeah, I mean, well, sometimes it's like I think we actually got the "that's so fucking funny" on at least we like captured it on video on screen. Maybe I don't even remember how we do. Maybe we cut away from it. But like but some of those other ones like truly sometimes it comes down to budget. Like you have to pay an actor if they're going to say a line. There's this, a difference between like a background actor and an actor with a line. And so sometimes you just sort of have to make these off-camera lines work, and you do your best to massage them in there and hope that they score.
They worked on me for something,
That's great. I mean, that's good to hear.
something about that construction of somebody saying something largely benign, but saying it loudly and off screen is very funny to me.
Mhm.
Um, the scene where Eli and Danny walk into the party and you show off the cliques and this is a great little trick that you did. You've got the preppy kids set to candy, the skater kids set to corn, the potheads set to souls of mischief. What was up with that 1920s crooner group? Was that just like a visual sight gag, or was that a clique that I didn't know existed? There were those guys in like overalls and top hats and suits and ties.
Yeah, that I mean, like, yeah, maybe you fully missed this, but there was like a swinger craze in the late 90s, early 2000s. There were bands like Cherry Poppin' Daddies, Brian Setzer Orchestra, Squirrel Nut Zippers, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. But there was like a scene of people that would dress up in zoot suits and like dance to big band music.
I did not know that. I
You
really
don't
did.
remember that song like Zoot Suit Riot?
I'm
Roll
I'm
back a
uh,
bottle of beer.
I'm born 93, so there is a
Okay,
gap.
okay, yeah. You might have missed it.
But I did know all of those clicks that you had showed off. And then the other person that I knew very well is the one that you played. The white dread-headed stoner guy. Is that somebody specifically from your past? Because when I say I feel like we all knew this guy, I feel like we all knew this guy.
Yeah, I mean, like, I definitely knew a dude, and also Evan, who I wrote it with. He's from Eugene, Oregon, and I feel like he knows a lot of those dudes. I watched a decent amount of YouTube videos of like guys at Fish concerts in like 2001, and yeah, I agree with you. I think that, and that's always the hope is that like as an audience member, you're like, wait, I think I know exactly who this is because
Yeah.
like we're like kind of ubiquitous.
Yeah. Working in the video store, smoking the bowl, being like, yo, I've been diving deep on some thoughts of mine. Speaking of which, just on lines being yelled out at random that some people might see as a toss away that cracked me up. When the dude with the longer hair, like the older bullyish type, walks into the garage, he's like, "Yo, you're just chilling here, fucking dolo." That killed me too for some reason. I guess I just missed those words, you know.
Yeah, I think that was. I'm gonna give Eduardo, the actor, credit on that one because I think he pulled Dolo out of his pocket. That was
It's
not scripted.
so funny. Um, and then your guy saying hella unrigorous was great too. Um,
Yeah.
what do I got here? What aspect of this time period seemed to surprise your Gen Z cast the most?
And that's a good question. Surprise them. I mean, I think generally, Jaden, who plays Eli, was saying this earlier. He knew that there was like some sort of Y2K thing that happened, that there was some sort of controversy or something like that. Um, but he didn't know to the extent. He knew that there were computers involved, but he didn't know that there was actually like full on
Panic.
hysteria. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, to some degree. So for at least for him, that was something that caught him off guard.
I tell me about finding the tonal balance of brutally yet comedically killing teenagers. There's I don't want to describe them too much, but there's the kid with the blender. Of course, that stands out.
Yep.
Probably one of the hardest laughs I got was the dude on the rollerblades. So just talk. I mean, and that gag specifically is just so fucking funny. So talk to me about how you tried to, when you're writing this down, like it sounds funny, but then actually shooting these scenes, I'm sure finding that balance might have been a bit of a trick.
Yeah, I think both those gags. I mean, like I love those gags as well, and the rollerblade one, I think like probably is the most consistently in terms of like playing well. That one, I feel like people generally always respond well to it. I think both those gags came late in the game, to be honest. Like when we were, as I recall, when we were uh, location scouting and we were in the house that would end up being the house party house. We were in the kitchen and like I think somebody we were just like, oh, maybe there's a blender over here, and then and it's like, oh, well, that makes sense. We have this character who's sort of referenced earlier. And we can do this thing, which I don't know. I don't know how spoiler free we want to be, but yeah,
As much as you want to be,
yeah. Well,
your film.
he mentions his body or like his body is mentioned rather by other characters, and then we see this blender affect said body part. Um, but I mean, yeah, I don't. I mean, it all comes down to like in terms of execution, you never know like if it'll play, but you are getting the chance to see it happen on screen on video, and you're like, okay, I think that's gonna work. But there is always a gamble of like is this what we hope for? Is this what we imagined? And I feel like, pretty happy with most stuff we got, but
You
you
should
really
be.
never know. Yeah.
Um, so I don't want to spoil. Is Fred Durst in the trailer?
He is. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So he's obviously a huge part of this film. Well, so much so that I imagine it's written into the script that this is going to be Fred Durst, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
on and so forth.
Yeah, we
So,
yeah, go ahead, sorry.
well, how lucky did you feel when you realized that he's actually funny as hell? Because basically your third act kind of hinges on the involvement of Fred Durst, not just in terms of the story, but in terms of him being funny. And his line, I forget the exact wording, but him being like, I'm sure that made sense to one of you dipshits. Like, that is a legitimately great reading. So I guess,
Yeah, agree.
how did you know? Did you know that this would work? And at what stage did you realize, like, oh, thank God, this is going to work?
Yeah. I mean, well, one, yeah, he was part of the concept almost from the get-go. I think within a week of pitching it with Evan, were like, oh, it'd be fun if Fred Durst was in there. And like there was nobody we could think of that would replace him that would like do all the things that he could do, like be so emblematic of Y2K and like such a standout figure. So we there was a lot weighing on it. And uh I think once we started talking to him and the fact that he was into it, immediately it was a feeling of like, I guess relief, but also, yeah, just being fully ecstatic because like now we don't have to go through the search of like trying to find somebody who brings what Fred does. And then the first day on set, as like you're getting at, like there is mystery as to like, is he gonna pull this off? And within the first and second take, like it's like, oh shit, not only is he gonna pull this off, but like he's killing it. He's like one of the best actors here, you know?
Yeah, yeah, he
Um,
was great.
it was really special, yeah.
Kyle, real quick, and then I've got to wrap. What's been your favorite SNL skit that they've aired since you've left? Is there one that you're like, damn, that's good shit?
Oh man, let me think about that for 1 second. Yes, I watch pretty much every episode. Okay, one's
Put you on
pop.
the spot there. I apologize.
No, you're good. I want to be like I want to give props where props are due. Let's see. I liked Andrew Dismukes had one recently where he sings he's like having he's meeting his fiance is maybe Ego and they're meeting Ego's family and he starts singing a really obnoxious song. I don't mean to say obnoxious, but do you know the sketch I'm referring to?
No, I don't. I don't.
Like, fuck. Okay. Well, that's enough information for anybody who
There you
it's a
go.
good song. I don't want to say obnoxious because it's a legitimate pop song from years ago. Um, and then I also like I remember one Heidi did recently where she is like just housing a really large hamburger. Those and but I like them all. I laugh
Of
every week.
course. Kyle, thank you for your time, man. Congrats on the film. Y2K in theaters December 6th. If you're of that age, it's a trip to go back there. If you're not, you can see how good life used to be. Cheers.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Eric.
man.
Have a good one.
Thank you.